Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to solve a simple computer science typecasting problem with math methods, and then we're going to look at some other important math functions to know for CS problems. So right here we've got a question and it's asking for the output of the code, and then we have different answer choices. So let's start by breaking this question down step by step. The first thing you want to do with any of these typecasting questions is to work from the inside out. So we're going to solve the innermost part first. So let's just start by looking at int 4.9. Anytime you cast a double to an int in Java, it doesn't round, it just cuts off everything after the decimal. So when we have int 4.9, that just becomes 4 because it's an integer. Then we have to cast that 4 back to a double because we have double right here. So now we have double 4, which just gives us 4.0. Now we have to handle this math.ceil, which means ceiling, and it always rounds up to the nearest whole number. So when we have math.ceil 3.2, this gives us 4.0 as a double since we rounded up. Now we have to add 4.0 from here plus 4.0 since the operation we have here is addition, and that equals 8.0, which is still a double. Now if we look outside, we see int, so we cast the whole thing with int. So int 8.0 is just 8, because 8 is an integer and 8.0 is not. But the trick that we have to catch is that we're storing it in double x. So even though the value we got was 8, Java is going to store it as 8.0. So the output is 8.0. That's what gets printed. So here the answer is B. So what you need to understand from this is that the variable's data type determines what gets printed, not the last operation. So even though we got an integer, the double is going to get printed since that is the data type of our variable. Now let's look at some other important math functions to know for more of these types of problems. So we can start with math.floor. This rounds down to the nearest whole number. So if we want to look at some examples, if we had math.floor of 4.8, that'll go to 4.0, and we always keep it as a double. It doesn't return to an integer with our math functions. If we have math.floor a negative number, like negative 4.1, that's going to go to negative 5.0. We rounded down to the nearest whole number. And we are returning a double. So that is math.floor. The next one, which we've already seen in the problem above, is math.ceil, which rounds up to the nearest whole number. So if we had math dot ceil 4.1, that goes to 5.0. And if we had math dot ceil negative 4.7, that goes to negative 4.0, which is rounding up. And it also returns a double. The next one we can look at is math.round, which rounds to the nearest whole number. So if we had math.round 4.5, that'll go to 5, and math.round 4.4 goes to 4. This one is different though, because this one returns a long, or int for float input. And in that way it's different from floor and ceil. The next one is math.abs, and this returns the absolute value. The absolute value is always positive, so if we had math.abs negative 7, that is 7. If we had negative 3.5, that'll be 3.5. This one works on ints and doubles both. Now we're going to look at math.powxy, which raises x to the power of y. So if we had 2, 3, that means we have 2 to the power of 3, which is, which is 8.0, and we're returning a double always, even if the answer is a whole number. If we have math.sqrt, it returns the square root. So if we had math.sqrt25, we are returning 5.0, because it also always returns a double. The last one we're going to look at is math.max x and y and math.min x, y. So this returns larger or smaller of the two values. So if we had math.max 3, 7, we're finding the max, so the larger one, which is 7. if we had math.min of 3 and 7, we would get 3. And this function matches the data type that you pass. So these are all of the rules that we have gone over, and these will be important to solve problems just like this one. The casting rules to always remember is that int never rounds, and then double plus int in math always results in a double, and storing an int value in a double variable prints with a decimal, so like 8.0 or 5.0. And math.floor, math.ceil, math.pow, and math.sqrt all return double. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.